Let me ask you a quick question, friends. Do you believe in ghosts? There's often a sliding scale that goes between those who are complete skeptics, who proclaim ghosts are just not possible, to complete believers who proclaim ghosts must exist. For example, my fiance Katie and I are on opposite sides of the scale. I can confidently say I believe in ghosts, whereas Katie will confidently say ghost, in the commonly defined way, spirits are a different matter, are not a possibility. Yet, despite her complete disbelief in the existence of ghosts and them being people who used to be here, she supports my belief. There was an evening after a long day where she was the maid of honor in a friend's wedding, that in the middle of the night, when we were trying to sleep, I declared, "This hotel is haunted." To which she kindly, although very groggily, responded, "Do we need to leave?" Which I further responded, "No, these ghosts seem like the chill type. I just wanted to share." She then promptly went back to sleep. Experience is a weird thing, because for me, what I said was true experience and needed to be shared in that moment. But for Katie, that was a moment of being disrupted by her then partner when she just wanted to sleep. For her, she does not understand or even believe, but she cares about my belief and my well-being. And the same is true when we talk about being haunted by ghosts of our past. One person can experience something so deeply and so truly, and all the other can do is support that feeling, because not everyone is haunted by the same thing. As you can tell, I firmly believe in ghosts, but asking others is one of my absolute favorite get-to-know-you questions. For me, being haunted by those gone has been my reality before the hotel Katie and I were in, before my memories could form. It was a way to guarantee further conversation, stories of ghosts who lived in the apartment of my parents when I was born, and in the house we moved into, and in the world around us were always told. Figures were seen in vague outlines. The answer people give me so often give me a view of how they understand haunting and the world around them. It leads to deeper conversations about what it means to be in this world together and how we think of those who have left before us. But what even are ghosts? Yes, there are the ghosts who inhabit hotel rooms who are the dead interacting with the world, but that is not all they are to me, not after taking a class titled Spirit and thinking deeper on what it means to be haunted. Ghosts are also our memories and the ways we let the past and the past of our ancestors haunt us. It is not supernatural always, but sometimes of our own creation. We can ask to be and are haunted by the visions of the world we hold on to. There's an academic study called hauntology that presents haunting in a broader, fuller way. We are haunted by the loved ones we have lost, of course, but also by the people we used to be, by the memories we have created, by the way our favorite park was as a child and no longer is. We see the outline of ghosts we used to know. Some of those ghosts hold memories of trauma and fear, for the world we live in is one where we have all experienced trauma. But that is not the only ghost we know. As Mayra Rivera writes about haunting, although narratives of haunting are often associated with traumatic experiences, memory cannot be reduced to horror and trauma. This understanding is why my view of haunting has gone from just the ghost I have literally experienced on this earth in hotel rooms and apartments and so forth, to the ghost I and others around me create. In the creation of haunting, it has even been further expanded to how others can create moments that haunt you. that there's a power to collective creation, and in there, we can let many past versions of past ghosts of ourselves reside. There are many, many past ghosts of myself who haunt me. Yet, the version I need to be touched by for the past and present ghost of myself happened when I heard a song by a musician I adore, Semler, spelled Semler. They are a queer, non-binary Christian musician who wrote a song about being non-binary and wishing for the perception others had to be different. They sung the lyrics, "I don't want to be here, but I don't want to die. I don't like the body you see me inside. I'd rather be a ghost that everyone could see, a phantom and a friend whenever you need." Now, the first time I remember hearing the song was at Semler's concert in Cambridge, Massachusetts that I went to because Katie adores their music. And through Katie, I had come to adore songs like Late Bloomer and Psalm 102 and all types of Christian music I didn't think I would get into. But when I saw Semler in person, something about how their album hit me changed. It was like I had never heard a single one of their songs before. In the middle of a crowd in a small venue of a bar that could only fit a couple hundred, I truly took in the words of "I'd rather be a ghost." They start the introduction with talking about how they want to be like Casper, and as they sung the words, I had never heard my experience as a trans, non-binary person so clearly described. Tears fell down my eyes as someone who knew the feeling so deeply saw me, even without ever knowing me. And truthfully, I can't tell you about any other person who was in that room. I can tell you about me. I can tell you about Katie, who was holding me while I was crying. And I can tell you about Semler singing and the zero focus I had on them. I start singing along loudly with the part that goes, "I am not at home here, honey. I am not at home here, honey." Later, when we were walking back to the car, Katie said, "I have played that song for you repeatedly while we were in the car, and you never noticed it. And I didn't really know how to tell you, hey, I think you'll relate. Listen to the song more closely. You'll really relate to it because what if I was wrong?" I stood there for a moment in shock. How did I fail to notice a song that had moved me so deeply? But I think the answer was I needed it to be shown to me in an unavoidable way. A way that made me deal with the ways I have come to haunt myself and be haunted by the world. There is something about that line, "I am not at home here, honey," that hit a part of me that has fully never known how to express the feeling of being perceived by others that does not affirm the way I see myself. When I look in at myself, I see just me, just Rhea. And maybe the more official language is I see someone who is clearly a trans, non-binary individual. Yet, when I go out into the world, that is not the way I am seen. I am seen in shades of binaries. A ghost of expectation lingers clearly beside me. And there's a part of me that wishes I could scream, "I am not at home here, honey. I am not at home in the understanding you are putting me in and the expectations you hold for me." As Semler puts it, I'd feel so much better as a ghost under a sheet. There would be no expectations of me under that sheet, no clear understandings of who the world hopes me to be. I would not be haunted by the roles others put forth for me in the world I was socialized in. Isn't it funny? I wanted to be a ghost so badly, but I am actually haunted by the expectations of the world. But maybe part of being haunted is the knowledge that others are too. I am not alone in this. We are in a scary movie together, and the only way through is together. Ghosts can seem scary and overwhelming, especially when the ghosts are hundreds of years old, like our binaristic expectations in the States. And there are also other ghosts we can invite in that could help battle the scary ones, the ones that strike fear, the images and ancestors of those who were defying expectations long before I was alive, long before any of us were alive, who knew deeply, as I do, that they were who they saw themselves as in the mirror. Yes, there is trauma and the horror of haunting. But as pointed out in the quote from Rivera, haunting is not only horror and trauma, but so much more than that. There is hope in the ghost of the past. So, who do I ask to come haunt us? To haunt me? To remind us that there are ghosts beyond those who instill fear within our souls. Related immediately to me, I think of my papa, which is what I called my grandpa. I think of the young man he was who grew up in an era that contained the Dust Bowl and the Great Depression. How he was the type of Okie who jumped on trains to pick fruit and would always come back home. I think of the young man he was long before I knew him, who was adventurous and determined. How he decided to join the Navy during World War II when he was technically underage to do so, and wrote back to the local newspapers about what it was like. He knew who he was. Because no matter how far he went, he was always at his core an Oklahoman deeply, and he would always come back. He was someone who knew he loved his family dearly and his friends as well. He is someone I can ask to haunt me and know he would tell me that I am lovable as I am. And if he was alive when I came out, he would have supported me out of pure love, and I know that because that is just who he was, and he was that way with a friend. There was a time when being haunted by him was hard and painful, because I missed him dearly. But now, the smell of Marlboro cigarettes and denim blue overalls that he wore every single day that I knew him reminds me that knowing myself and being haunted in a good way is beautiful. I think of others outside of my direct family, like the many at the Stonewall and Compton cafeteria uprisings who knew who they were and pushed against the expectations placed on them, who stood publicly and reminded the communities around them that who they were was worthy of being seen, recognized, and fought for. When we focus on the ghosts who can haunt us in a good way, it suddenly becomes a little easier to remember that we are not so alone, nor are we the first to push against the ghost of expectations from systems not made for us. I'd rather be a ghost, but I don't know if I will ever succeed at that, so maybe for now, I will accept being haunted by those who can remind me knowing who I am is a gift to share boldly. My friends, let yourself be haunted, for there are ghosts here waiting to make you at home.